Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to F1 Manager. This is episode 107. We've reached the end of the season. We're going to go through the off season and try to get the first race of the new season in within this episode. That's a lot to do, so let me kind of get right to it. Both drivers are at an 83. Porsche has pulled 1 point ahead and will now pull a second point ahead of his teammate in terms of the drivability, and he was a lower rated driver. We've never seen him ahead. I think our next upgrade will come from him first. With an 89th point to pit crew management, James Irwin is now an 82 overall race engineer, and that puts both of them at an 82, and that puts all of our staff at an 82 minimum. Our final big upgrade, the factory, is complete. It's not going to help us till next year because development is now locked for the remainder of this calendar year. Just to recap, that the driver's champion is Porsche, and that we are the constructors champion this season. It was a phenomenal year. We absolutely dominated. We didn't do any upgrades second half of the season and still managed to come away with a lot of victories. In fact, I think we won all but one race down the stretch. Development might be locked, but not research. So we are able to get a side pod research project complete, cheap and easy, just in time. Only able to do a couple of pushes to make that happen, but there's one more for the year, and that's definitely the final one, as everything else is finishing up already 29th, 30th, or 31st of December. Two key regulation changes coming for the year is the cost cap is going to go up by 5 million. Pole position bonus point is going away, but then of course we're having the huge regulation change in terms of the cars themselves. We're heading into a new generation of car. All three drivers have expiring contracts next season at the end of the year, so we at least have them secured already. I'll probably go through with negotiations at some point during the season. Depending on how things are going, we might mix it up to spread it out throughout the year. Otherwise, we might just wait till late, but I don't think our finances are going to be much of an issue, so it should be pretty easy to do because we don't have any more facility upgrades, just refurbishments to take care of as we go through the season, which means we're going to be rolling in cash. We're already up to 48 million right now, and we haven't even gotten to what we have for the remainder of this year, prize money and whatnot. By the way, it's 1st of December, and we are now pushing to within 5 million of the cost cap. This is easily the closest we've come, but it looks like the turn of the month for 1st of December will now take us out of the year and into a new year. Therefore, we've already done it because projected is right where we're at right now. Post-Christmas, but pre-New Year's, so just before the end of the year, our final facility upgrade is now complete. We are 100% done. All 75 upgrades are complete, all of them. So we are now maximized as a team as we head into the new season with that final scouting department upgrade complete. Now it's December 31st. I cannot start any new ones, but I have finished all of the current ones. And here is the final tally on research projects that we were able to complete with, I don't know how much, I guess it depends on how much wind tunnel time we put into each one on what the actual evaluation was. But chassis, 2 upgrades got us about 20%. And actually, I think that's been about the standard, 10% of what was lost per upgrade. So we got about 20% out of chassis. Front wing, we got back close to 40% with 4 upgrades. Of course, it took a bigger hit with that 70% where everything else was at 50. The rear wing, we got 40% recovered with 4 upgrades. Side pods, we got 30%. We got 3 research projects complete there. The underfloor was also actually just 3, but I committed a little extra to each of those. We almost got to 40%. Not quite. It was definitely over 35. And then the suspension was 2 research projects, 20. So 40 in each of the wings, 30 in the side pods and underfloor, 20 in the chassis and suspension. I do think the underfloor, we might have been able to push that a little higher to about 35. I think that's going to put us in a pretty good position heading into the new year. Welcome to the new season. Here we go. Back-to-back Constructors Championships plus perfect facilities now mean that our main fund has finally risen to the top. We are number 1 in our team rating rank for our main fund with over 105 million coming for the season. Our sponsor obligations are kept almost entirely at a minimum. Got a couple things that I bumped up ever so slightly, but otherwise it's bare minimum. And we're looking at 20 million in sponsor obligation money coming in. So that's 125 million. The budget for the year is what, 135 cap, or pushed up for the year, did it not? So 141 now. Either way, we're going to get winnings worth easily in excess of 20 million. No problem in that department. Therefore, preseason lump sum is now at 14.7 million. Our income per race is 5 million for the coming season. Our incoming outgoing funding, as we're sitting on 49.6 million right now, we have the 14.7 in sponsor funding. We have 8.5 million coming from the board. Our entry fee for the coming season is nearly 6 million, and that gives us a positive balance of 17 million. There's that cost cap, 141 million for the year. Of course, we have some big changes coming. Here's what we covered off specifically in that chassis: 6% of a 32% loss. Not even close. Front wing's a little bit better though, as we covered off damn near half, definitely over 40%. Rear wing was definitely just the 40%. I focused a lot more on that front wing because we were losing so much. Side pods, wow, not much. I got the extra upgrade in, but I think all 3 times I must have not put hours into it. Bare minimum. Always the afterthought. Underfloor, you could see the extra attention we got, even though it was only 3 upgrades. They take a long time to get through. And the suspension, ooh, that one hurts. That's 10%. We only got 10%, so suspension was also an afterthought for us. And yeah, we did not cover off much at all. That suspension's not going to be looking too good. Sticking with the Red Bull powertrain for another year. Honda, right? It's Honda. Duh. Of course it's Honda. Red Bull ain't doing jack about that. Farce. We were plus 17 million. We're spending 15, so we're still going to have 49.6. All right, so some internal car reports. Here's the new car versus the old car. We're losing just over 2 kilometers an hour, 2.15. Our acceleration is also dropping off a fair bit. Our cornering, 2.5, almost 3 Gs, tenths of a G in low speed cornering decrease. We're looking at nearly 3 tenths of a G lost in medium speed cornering, and just over 4 tenths lost in high speed. DRS losing 1 kilometer an hour, 1.25. Just a small amount of acceleration in the DRS zone, but our dirty air cornering, wow, that is a significant drop off, folks. We're going from 54% down to 28%. It's going to be hard to follow other cars. It's going to be hard to hold in DRS zones. It's going to be really easy to split the field up. Medium speed looking better at 36%, but again, it's decreased by almost half. Medium speed, high speed, just very low compared to what it was. Brake cooling and engine cooling at 57% are actually significantly better than where we started that season 1. We're a lot better than we were at that point. But that's still a pretty big drop off too. That's what, a good 25%. Team roster updates. Red Bull remain unchanged with Verstappen and Russell. Never mind the reserve drivers. They make no difference. Of course, we are unchanged as well, and definitely getting more competitive, but definitely, we're an average of 9 points weaker behind those guys. For Alpine, Piastri and Norris are their 2 lead men. Bottas and Sainz at McLaren. Ferrari have Leclerc and Perez. Alfa Romeo have Guan Yu Zhou and Magnussen. Mercedes, Ocon and Gasly. AlphaTauri, Stroll and Albon. we've nearly gotten off the bottom, by the way. There's 2 teams here just ahead of us in terms of our average 83 between the pair. And we are off the bottom. Aston Martin, Sonoda and Giovinazzi, 81-83. They are weaker. As are Haas with Schumacher and Latifi. Has there been any change? Giovinazzi was with... I don't think there's been hardly any change, if any. Was it Bottas at Alfa Romeo? Or was he already at McLaren? I think he was already at McLaren. Was Stroll at AlphaTauri? But we've passed up 2 teams in terms of rating. We are 1 point behind AlphaTauri. And we are 2 points behind Alfa Romeo. We nearly have an average driving pair at this point. Development is very, very slow. I'm looking forward to a different development system in F1 Manager 23 that I very much want to exploit and be a part of. By the way, speaking of being a part of, I will be putting a vote out on this one. But here are the 3 options for a challenge that I am setting up for F1 Manager 23. As far as I know, there's still no difficulty rating on the game, so it can be as hard as you want it to be. We've found that having a young driving pair has made it interesting, has been a good challenge, but I still picked the best F2 guys that we could get our hands on. Best young pair. And went the affordable route, which allowed us to upgrade the facilities and has worked out well as we've developed the best car. Now, for next year, I'm looking at 3 potential challenges. All staff, so crew members, your designers, your drivers, all of the above. Okay, so this is all of the above. Everyone that you can hire being from one of 3 groups. Of course, the game will start with, Williams looks to be last on the grid again. So assuming that when the game comes out next month, that Williams is at the back of the grid, we will be taking Williams once again. So we're already going to take the weakest team. But even then, the game's not that hard to get up there and get ahead. So to make it really hard and make it the ultimate challenge and make it take even more seasons than we did this time around before you become dominant, I'm going to either A, take an all-female staff lineup, all of the above, limiting our options to just females and then hiring the best ones we can and going from there. Or not F2. No, even that's too easy. We already did the F2 thing. Going F3. Picking all staff, all drivers straight from F3 and replacing what we have, downgrading intentionally to F3, or even further to literal non-formula, people outside of formula, people at the very, very, very bottom options. Which challenge do we want to take on? I'll have a poll on that just before we get to release. We, of course, are going to have the fewest hours for the CFD and wind tunnel, but we already had that this last season, and we were just fine. It does give a chance for somebody like Haas to catch up, especially this year, where they're starting at such a deficit, and you could make up a lot of ground with each and every upgrade. Every upgrade is going to matter on a car this year. And we already know more or less what we managed to succeed with in terms of recovery. I know what parts are better. That doesn't mean that I don't want to continue to make them better, because there's still a lot of ground to cover. So I will open with front wing, rear wing, and underfloor, and then one of the other 3. The one that was furthest behind, I think, was suspension, so we'll probably pick that one up first. Side pods, chassis, we're definitely lagging behind, but I still want to focus on our 3 main upgrades. They're the ones that are going to make the car more dominant, and they have a long ways to go before the rate of progression really drops off. Therefore, you want to get them going, even if they're first already. Get them going further, faster, better. I don't want to show rank on grid. Not interested, but I am interested in getting the most out of these that I can. End of February, and it's a big period for us. For one, 3 upgrades complete. The underfloor upgrade was complete a few days ago, is manufacturing. So we have new parts coming to the car. Lots of them. But also, the post-Barcelona testing results, they're out. They're out. This is a big period for us, but I have some new projects to do. Quite a few of them. For now, the suspension is the only one of the recently upgraded parts that's ready for its next round. And I already have projects going otherwise that would cover everything. So I need to wait for manufacturing to take place. I also have a week until we enter the new period. So I did get another suspension upgrade on the go, and it wasn't easy to get it to make gains and not see some sort of negative come out of it without having any clock hours to put in. But I did. I managed to get that done, and so that's fine. But here we go. Post-Barcelona testing results. We are first almost across the board. Brake cooling, 7th. Engine cooling, 5th. I kind of figured that was going to be the case. I really did. I figured that too many teams focused on last year's car and did not commit to this year's car. And we were starting from having the best car and then researched like crazy. That's a good footing to recover. It's a good fitting to a good start point to really recover a lot. If you're starting from the worst car and then doing research, you're basing it off of the old car. You're not going to gain as much as fast. We didn't have the hours that others did, so others could have put in some big projects, and we might not have that huge of a gap over everyone. But I figured the amount of time and effort we put into that research, we would cover things off better than most everyone, and it looks like we have. By the way, at the beginning of the episode, I said I wanted to get to the first race weekend. I can tell you right now, it's not happening. This is an off-season special. This is what we're doing here. There's too much going on, too much excitement, too much nervous energy from me that I guess we're in great shape. But how good are we compared to everybody else? I don't know yet. We'll know by the end of the episode. Okay, so we are entering the new period. So before we get into that, I have some manufactured parts that are going to go on the car, and we've got a few design projects to get started on. We're also just 10 days away from Bahrain, almost the start of the season. My second underfloor upgrade of the year is about to get underway. I'm putting a little more into it than some of the others. It takes a long time to get through the underfloor upgrades. I'm wanting to make sure we make some significant gains. We're going to pick up 3% on this one. I have a feeling our underfloor is already the best, and this is going to make it even better. But this is the way. It's going to take 75 days. If we commit some extra money to it, it'll be done in 50. We're going to do that. It's a 50% reduction to the time. And the second week of testing is done, and those new parts on the car have boosted us into a healthy state. We were, of course, already first in most categories. Now the brake cooling is third, and the engine cooling is fifth. Looks like we have a really good car. We got 40 million, so the cash is no longer an issue. Cost cap can and will be an issue this season, potentially. But we made it fine last season. We went crazy on just constant work on the cars. So I don't want to break down the individual teams. Not yet. I don't want to know where every team is at. But I will compare us to the grid average before we wrap this episode up. And then, of course, we'll have our first race weekend in the next episode. But our top speed, a full kilometer an hour better than grid average. Our acceleration, though, only slightly, but it's definitely better. Low speed, It's good. It's good. We're over a full tenth. We're almost 1.5 tenths ahead of grid average. 1 1/3 ahead in medium speed, and we are almost 2 tenths ahead in high speed. DRS top speed, half a kilometer, so it's not that much, but the acceleration is absolutely there compared to everybody else. But actually, even that, it's close. That's close. So acceleration seems to be pretty good for almost everybody. That didn't go anywhere. But the low speed, oh, look at this. The ability to follow in dirty air. We can do it a lot better than others. A lot better. We are 13% in low speed dirty air cornering. That's going to be really hard for teams to follow, where we're not going to have an easy time with it, or we're going to be a lot better off. 12% in medium, 11% in high speed. Huge. I mean, our low speed is damn near double what everybody else is capable of. Huge drop off in these areas, and that brake cooling and engine cooling, the one weaker area where we're not top, even then we're still well above grid average. 61% to 54, and then 58 to 53. All right, folks. Well, the car looks good. Car absolutely looks good. In some areas, it looks absolutely dominant compared to grid average. But how many teams are way behind, and how many teams are only a little behind? We won't find that out till next time. That is going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.